up here on Voices of Montana. Really excited to welcome here to the program Montana Warriors on the Water. I know at least my house we had some fresh snow on the ground this morning, but we certainly had some nice sunny weather, so we're all ready for the summertime here. But basically, sounds like a great group. They're working to get a bunch of not only wounded warriors but other veterans as well out there to enjoy some time fishing out on the water on Fort Peck Lake. In fact, it's a project of the Miles City chapter of Walleyes Unlimited, and we've got now joining us the founders of Montana Warriors on the Water, Scott Zeitner and Mike Anderson out of Miles City. Scott, thanks so much for coming in. It's great to see you here on Voices of Montana.
It's great to be here. Interesting drive in this morning with watching the snow, but
yeah. You picked a bad day to do it. It's been like 60, 70 degree weather, and then now you got snow, and you're driving to the big city. I guess we should call it that. So tell us why you decided to start this Montana Warriors on the Water, and when you started it up and running.
Well, Mike and I initially had started discussing this. I guess it was right after Christmas.
I think it was in between Christmas and New Year's, 26th, 27th, somewhere in there.
So this is a quick turnaround time then, because literally I heard about this at least a couple months ago. So you got the word out pretty quick and getting organized pretty quick, and you've already got a slate of veterans who are going to join you for this fishing trip so far.
Yeah, we've got 18 that we've invited. We have, I believe, 16 confirmed. Right now.
And are you looking? So give us the dates and kind of just give us an overview, if you can, of the project. Maybe Mike, you want to give us an overview of the fishing event and who all you think might be there so far.
Sure. So far, it's gained a whole lot of traction, and we've got a lot of people that are just kind of jumped in and wanted to get involved. So we had originally set the dates for, the vets to come in on June 8th and fish for, 2-3 days and leave on maybe the 11th or 12th. And, we kind of talked about it. We're like, well, hey, we're going to be up there fishing in the middle of the week. What is the point in coming home? We'll just stay there for the whole weekend.
Exactly.
So we put it out to the few guys that we had confirmed that definitely wanted to come out for that trip. And they're like, well, let's stay. Just stay till the 14th. And then we were talking to some folks from Cenex and whatnot. They decided they were going to put a barbecue on for them on Sunday the 14th, and everybody'd fly out on the 15th. And that kind of went a little bit further, and now we've got a band coming in, Patton and Goff, two active duty guys out of Fort Bragg, Army Aviation, I believe. They're going to come out and put a show on once at the lake for just the vets, and then they're going to come and do it, a public concert in Miles City on the 14th.
Wow. So public concert on June 14th in Miles City. Now, of course, you talk about doing these events on the lake, and, of course, Fort Peck Lake has more shoreline than the state of California. So where on the lake are you guys going to be at?
So we're going to launch at Hell Creek Bay, and that's kind of going to be, base operation, so to speak. That's where all the lodging is set up and everything, and that's where we'll be, feeding, and all the boats will come in at night. But what happens during the day, nobody knows.
Montana, the Fish, Wildlife, and Parks has donated the use of the public use building up there at Hell Creek for us for the entire week for logistics and barbecues and all of that, and they've waived camping fees. We've got a pretty sizable donation from the Montana Game Wardens Association to go towards some equipment purchases for the guys. The Billings chapter, Walleyes Unlimited, the Crooked Creek chapter out of Lewistown, and the Miles City and Jordan chapters have really jumped on. And Mike and I were up in Jordan, 2 weeks ago to talk to some gals up there that are going to kind of head up the cooking and meal planning front. And it was pretty much, you just stay out of our way and get us a grocery list. We got everything covered. So.
It's pretty incredible, too, especially here in Montana, because I know, when it comes to some of these national organizations and foundations, a lot of folks are like, oh, okay, well, where does this money really go? I don't know. And then there's some great organizations. I'm not knocking any of them in. But what's really cool is when local Montanans just say they have an idea, they put this together, and everybody jumps on board to help out. And the reason why this stood out to me, this Montana Warriors on the Water, is I remember last Memorial Day weekend, and we had Rob O'Neill, who was the keynote speaker at the Fort Peck Summer Theater. The VFW Post, based out of Fort Peck, did an incredible job with that event. But what they did was they took all these wounded warriors out fishing on Fort Peck Lake over the weekend, and I'll guarantee you that was the highlight for these guys, and you could just see how much they enjoyed it, and the camaraderie that was out there that maybe a lot of these guys and gals don't see since they served in the military. So it's a pretty cool event what you guys are putting together here.
Well, that's kind of how it kind of started at the beginning. Is every fall we get involved and we take some vets out, goose hunting or pheasant hunting. And this last fall we had some guys goose hunting, and one day we didn't have anything planned for them, and we took them out on the river one day, and just seeing how much fun they had getting into sauger and walleye, in the middle of November on a jet boat, it was pretty nice. And then when this came about, and we got it planned for Hell Creek, then we had so many boats, it was just not something you can do in June on the river, so we obviously chose the Hell Creek venue. And like you said, it's 57,000 square miles of lake, so there's going to be a lot of fishing holes, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be pretty
yeah, and Mike Anderson, you served in the Air Force for a time as well, so pretty excited about the upcoming event as well.
Oh, sure. And there's there's so many guys that are coming out here that don't have it. We take it for granted. We have a tendency to take for granted out here the ability we have to just get in a pickup and be 30 seconds, and I mean you're out of it and there's nothing. And some of these other guys have never experienced just the vast openness that we have, and heck, some of them, I dare say, some of them probably never even seen a walleye.
Yeah, which is incredible taste in fish. The other thing, are you still looking for folks? Is there still open if there's somebody if there's a veteran, say in Kalispell right now that's like, hey, I love Whitefish Lake and Flathead Lake, but I've never gotten a chance to check out Fort Peck Lake. Maybe this is my opportunity. Are you still looking for folks, or is it pretty booked right now?
I think where we're at this year, we've probably hit the threshold of probably where we're going to be able to manage things this year. And being the first year, we'll be able to make some adjustments on the fly for next year, and we'll know, what we're maybe able to do next year. Maybe we might be able to bring that up a little bit.
It's hard to say no.
That's true.
That's why we're at 18 or 20 that we're at.
But then you can start building the list for the next year and things. Right. I know there's folks who are always, they're organizing events like this, and sometimes it's like, then it's just finding the names. They know the guys or gals are out there, but it's tough finding the names of the people who are are able to go on these types of trips. We know they're out there, but it's just connecting them with the right folks, and so that's the way to do it. Yeah.
So we're certainly hoping this turns into an annual event, and that's our plan, is to continue to keep this thing rolling. Any funds that we raise throughout the year, we're just any surplus that we come out of this trip with, we're just going to roll it straight into next year, and hopefully be able to start out with we started out with nothing. Absolutely nothing. And Scott and I were going to take this on personally, and then it just kind of took off once we involved Walleyes Unlimited and a bunch of other folks. So,
and not wanting to face grievous bodily injury from our wives, we decided we better get some help. So,
yeah, Scott, I'm not going to tell folks what your wife typically calls you. What you told me your nickname was what she calls you.
Probably a good thing.
But what a great event too for the Miles City chapter of the Walleyes Unlimited to do, and I know the Walleyes Unlimited all at various locations just teams up to do great events like this all the time. So, if people want to find out more information about this, they want to help out, maybe they even want to just come volunteer or something. Scott, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys? I think you got a website up and running.
We have a website. Both of us follow our Facebook page, quite a bit. They contact either myself at 406-853-8398, or Mike has got his phone number on that card as well.
Right, 406-853-4567.
And, of course, here it is right on Facebook. Just search Montana Warriors on the Water. And then from there you can also find a link to their website, MontanaWarriorsOnTheWater.org. So pull out your smartphone, your tablet, whatever you need to do to find that information if you want more on Montana Warriors on the Water. And speaking of tablets and smartphones, how many devices do you have connected to your internet? What's the right speed for your family? Do you know your internet speed, and if you're maxed out? Well, call Nemot today, and they can get you on the right plan that fits your family's needs at 1-800-636-6680.
Stan, what's with all the sticky notes?
Just reminding you about my birthday with some ideas on what to get me.
A smart TV? Stan, I already told you. All you need is a Roku from Niemont. A Roku can turn any TV into a smart TV. And right now, when you switch to Niemont, they will give you a Roku for free.
Roku Niemont. Thanks, buddy.
Don't wait like Stan. Call 1-800-636-6680 for more information on how to get your free Roku. Get Niemont and get connected.
And with so many gadgets and devices connected to the Internet, are you maxing out your speed? If you're connecting more than 2 or 3 devices, just give Niemont a call at 1-800-636-6680 to find out what speed is right for you. Well, Rocky Erickson's going to join us here in just a couple of minutes to talk about the incredible appearances yesterday from Eva Kor, Holocaust survivor, and her record-breaking crowd in attendance last night at Billings West High as she delivered her powerful message of forgiveness. Wrapping up here, though, with Scott Zeitner and Mike Anderson with Montana Warriors on the Water, based out of Miles City, Montana, and their Hell Creek Tour 2015. Again, that website, or go to facebook.com/Montana Warriors on the Water. Maybe a quick question for you guys here as we wrap, but I know there's folks coming up here, though, with Scott Zeitner and Mike Anderson with Montana Warriors on the Water, based out of Miles City, Montana, and their Hell Creek Tour 2015. Again, that website, or go to facebook.com/Montana Warriors on the Water. Maybe a quick question for you guys here as we wrap, but I know there's folks all across Montana who have started their own things, or they'd like to start something. Like I had, for example, after we featured a Wounded Warrior deal here on Voices of Montana, had some friends at a Culbertson say, hey, we want to take some guys pheasant hunting. Who do we need to talk to? How do we do it? What do we do to make it happen? What advice would you have for somebody who wants to start a pheasant hunt or a fishing trip or something in their neck of the woods?
I think in a lot of instances, they could contact us, and it really wasn't all that difficult. Especially once we started talking to some of the local guys, even just our friends, and then once we got tied in with Walleyes Unlimited. There's a lot of people that are really willing to either give you access to land or help you get a case of shotgun shells or pay for the veteran's license, or we'd love to help anybody get this started. But part of one of the goals I think that we share is we'd like to see this kind of thing start up in different communities all across the state, or heck, even across the country. I think there's a certain appeal to it versus some of these more corporatized styles of the veterans.
Something more homegrown too.
Yeah.
I kind of like this thought too of hey, there's a lot of guys in western Montana who've never been on Fort Peck Lake.
Sure.
And there's a lot of guys in eastern Montana who've never been on Flathead Lake, for example, and starting to do some kind of sharing on that regard might be a good time.
Well, and there's a good chance we're going to go to the state walleyes convention up in Havre in April and present this to the state walleyes. And we're hoping to get a commitment from them to where all the chapters throughout the state will jump on board with this, with a funding commitment. But maybe it'll be something where the chapter in Helena will do an adventure, up at Hauser or over on the Flathead or something like that.
Yeah, great idea. Scott Zeitner, Mike Anderson, thanks so much for stopping in here on Voices of Montana. Great to see you both. And thanks for what you're doing to take care of the great warriors out there here in Montana. Appreciate it. All right. Hey, well, let's bring on Rocky.